Now, can you hear me now, Caroline? Can you hear me? Hi, Jan. Can you hear me now? Oh, goodness me. I'm hoping so. Please, can you give me some voice in the chat to see whether you can hear me or not? Better. Brilliant. Okay, I will get it turned up and hopefully I'm loud and clear tonight. Okay, so what I want to do today, yes, brilliant. Thank you, Mark. Great to hear from you. So tonight I'm going to actually use Jan as a guinea pig. Jan has approved that I can use her leaflet. And the reason why is it's a typical kind of barrier that you guys get stuck on, and I want to help you. So for those of you who don't know me, I am Sarah Bates, and I am the design solution for entrepreneurs, meaning that I want to help you guys either do the designs for you or give you some basic knowledge so you can rock up and do the everyday stuff yourself. Jan's got a leaflet to do, so I'm going to just go through a little bit of history and then I'm going to dive into Canva. Now, I have a pro Canva account, and the reason for that is so I can produce templates, and I needed this to be able to do my digital courses. Whereas you guys, if you are just on the unpaid version, the free version, that is absolutely fine because I used it for a whole year without needing to adjust. But if you need your brands, if you definitely need your kind of fonts and you can't find a substitute in Canva, then do the pro. I do have an affiliate link. I don't get any money for it, but they just know that I'm promoting Canva. So please, if you are interested in doing the pro account, just give me an email. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to go direct into Canva. And please just let me know if you get stuck, because a couple of weeks ago, people got stuck on slide 2 and I had another 18 to show. So that would be absolutely great. So I'm going to dive in and I'm going to share my Canva window. Okay, so can everybody see this? If you can give me a shout in the comments, I'm here. I can see the comments now. That would be great. So how to design a leaflet, and this is me showing you guys how. And if you subscribe to my newsletter, sarahbatesdesign.co.uk/subscribe, you'll get the handout that accompanies this with some top tips and guidelines as to how you can. Perfect, you can all see it, brilliant, I haven't got a delay. So first things are first, okay? When you're designing one of these leaflets, and for those of me, I've got some examples here which I'm going to show you. You need to have impact because that person has got to pick up this leaflet and actually want to read it. So it can't be ambiguous and it's got to be simple and really clear. And for me, when I was having these chats with Janet, when we did a flyer before, it was very, very basic. Who is your audience? And what is the purpose of this leaflet? Because it's got to have one purpose. It could be a price list. It could be about introducing a new service. For Uwe on his Indigard, you can't really see that, Indigard physiotherapy, it was about introducing, because he was doing a leaflet drop to his services. The Dovecote Barns, this is a beautiful, quite luxurious one, because they want to take it home with them. They want to be able to show people these really nice, beautiful barns where they've stayed and encourage other people to stay. So you must have a clear purpose. And what is it? What is your service or product that you are actually selling? Okay, that you actually want to give out, want to share with your potential customers and your audience out there. It's important to know how you're going to get it to your audience, because whether it's thin paper, the volume of printing, whether it's, you know, the luxurious harder paper, that depends on the purpose again. So the purpose is really important. What service and product are you selling? And what is the call to action? Is this just raising awareness? Is this actually got a coupon or a voucher off to encourage people to use your service? Is it a referral, a voucher kind of leaflet. What actually is it? Now, in Jan's case, it's about telling people her products, and it's also particularly about a specific service, something that she wants to tell people, which we'll go into in a little bit later. So what is the call to action? Do you want people to ring you? Do you want people to go on your website? Do you want people to actually physically come into the building, if you're into the office, into the clinic? What do you want them to do? This all needs to be clear before you start designing. Now, for me, when I'm seeing a new client, I want to know what the copy is, which means the words. Have they actually been sorted? What's the headlines? What's what we call the body copy, which is the main general thing of copy. Now, as a designer, I want to be efficient with my time. So I ask for everything to be typed up, because I can then copy and paste and manipulate that. What I can't do is design and think of the words at the same time, because you're just splitting your brain in half. One's being creative and one's being kind of this logical, written literacy kind of focus. So you have to have your copy in place. You also have to have your brand guidelines in place. What are the colours? What are the fonts? What's your overall style and the tone of voice? Now, you might think this is just for branding and for marketing, but this goes everywhere amongst every single thing that you do for your business, because you have to be consistent. And if I had my triangle with me, I would wave that. So basic fundamentals. When I spoke to Jan, and I'm using this as an example because I think it's very typical of small businesses in the fact that we wear lots of hats and we try to do everything ourselves to be cost saving. And sometimes it really just doesn't work, because that overall impression, whether we like it or not, does actually count. It really, really does. So for me, Jan's first leaflet on the left-hand side, which she kind of shared with Nigel, and I jumped on the Entrepreneurs Clinic, I just didn't know where to look, to be honest. And you've got to guide the user by using size and scale and font and colour around that leaflet. And for me, when I looked at Jan's, first of all, it kind of shouted that I just didn't know where to look, because there was boxes and stars. And I couldn't guess whether this was an upmarket clinic, whether this was just like a tiny little cupboard, wherever it was. Jan, honestly, please don't take this personally. We've had these conversations, but it's for the benefit of everybody else, because people really do start out at this point. And that's the reason why I'm giving this training, because we all start, well, I don't, because I'm a designer, but everybody all starts at that point, because they're in Word or they're in Publisher. Then my next question was logo. And we had some big discussions, didn't we, Jan, about logos, and the fact that I wanted something crisp and vectorized, an EPS or a PDF file that I could scale. And for all Jan had this on her car, obviously that's very different from the logo that she was using on her literature and her social media. So rather than have more expense of me trying to kind of unravel this, and we didn't have the artwork for that the car guy had done. So basically we decided to work with this, and we decided to kind of try and match a font. So your overall style needs to be kind of nailed before you start designing, because that's the overall style. And as you can see here, when I hold up these 3 leaflets, these are very, very different, which we're going to have a look at now. So you need your brand. You need to, oh, and there's a spelling error there. And you need to work out where your logo is and have these all in place. So from Jan's leaflet here, we kind of really worked out what the actual message was. Relaxation your way without the hefty membership fee. Now, Jan was presuming that people knew that there might be a hefty membership fee somewhere else, but actually this should be about your business. It should just be about you, not necessarily having to fight off the competition. This should be about the great service that you provide. And the focus is on you, because you're designing the leaflet, you're paying for it printing, and you're distributing it. So it's got to work. And if you don't get your message clear, don't go to the cost of printing it. Just work through that again. So we kind of produced, and it was quite busy. There was a lot less information than we originally thought about. But it was about kind of heal yourself your way. Do you have pain? And it was talking about the typical, when we asked Jan about her clients, what the typical problems were that her clients were having and why they were using her service. We offered a special offer. This is an incentive to kind of come with this flyer. And then there's some social proof that actually these were recommendations, brilliant recommendations. And we put little speech bubbles in to say, you know, just to highlight if somebody didn't want to read all this, because we are very aware people don't want to read. So that's why we have large headings, type that's all in line and ordered, another large heading so that user can just skim over these elements and the call to action is very clear. Okay, so from this, we've worked out the yellow and black and gold were the colours that Jan's going to use, and we matched the font of Libra Baskerville Roman, which all this copy is, and the script is Libra Baskerville Roman, Libra Baskerville Italic. So there's only really 2 fonts in there. The third font was just a nice little sans serif down here, which when type is small, we want it to be really clear. And these are just some examples of the leaflets that I've just shown you. So you can see with the texture that we've got on here of the leaflet, of the it looks kind of like a brocade, like a very upmarket place, really nice photograph, incredibly simple, setting new standards in luxury self-catering because they've got 5-star for the last 100 years since it's been going. It's not 100 years, but basically that's what they wanted to do. And you've just got really nice photographs, very simple copy on the inside, but it's clear. Again, you've got Uwe's Indigard Physiotherapy. I drew this running man. It's on the outside of his clinic. It's on the inside of his clinic. He wanted, his physiotherapy was all about movement and keeping people moving and pain-free. So I drew the guy then, and basically his shoulder and his bum and his knee and his elbow, typical aches and pains, but he's actually moving. And they've got a really nice flow where people can move, a map to find people. These are the shockwave therapy on the back, some nice photographs on the front, on the inside rather, and a call to, you know, kind of a really nice testimonial. And you've got your call to action, very, very simple, just give us a ring. And we have then, now you would look at this and you'd think, was it cheap? Does it expensive? Is it luxurious? Automatically with the style of font and the colours and the fact there's a simplicity there, tells me immediately, even though I have designed it, tells me that, bless Jan, she's laughing. I'm really glad, thank you. But you would look at this leaflet and wouldn't think it's going to be cheap as chips, would you? You would think I probably might go there for a facial, ladies and men included. But I wouldn't maybe go there to for a cheaper one, or I might think, do you know what, that's beautiful, I'm going to treat myself, I'm going to take my girlfriends with me, whatever it would be. But just by the script typeface and the simple colour and the very elegant font that's being used and the fact that it isn't massive amounts of colour everywhere, there's a sophistication in that palette being quite so limited. And then, and now we've got onto Jan's leaflet. So Jan put this in front of Entrepreneur Circle yesterday for a critique. I wasn't there, but I know that Cameron had given some pointers. And for me, it's a case of just bringing this together. Jan's got the right amount of information here, but it needs this, there's almost, if I look at this as a front cover, there's too much near the edge. At last, there's a new way to support workplace wellness. I don't want to know at last. I want to know that Jan has got the new way to support workplace wellness. That's what I want to know. Obviously, there's a gap here for some testimonials. Yes, well done, Jan, for having a leaflet in the first place. And Jan's been very brave because she's been putting stuff in the Facebook group, and I've been feeding back. And I just thought, actually, this is a really good way for Jan to get a leaflet and for people to understand fundamentally how we kind of change from this to a design. And I am going to put this and do it live. I've not planned it. I probably should have done, but I haven't. So I'm going to be speaking out loud about the decisions that I am going to be making and using Jan's copy. Now I've got all that copy in a Word document and I'll copy and paste it in. I've already uploaded the logos and the pictures and the Google and the Facebook. So it's already there. I just need to start to design it. And we're probably going to just tweak this a little bit, but at the moment I'm going to stay with Jan's copy. We're just going to make it look better. We're going to make it kind of what I call chunking, is where bits of text are together. Now that's from the Gestaltist principle of proximity. If things are chunked together, we naturally see that that's one message. And if other things are chunked together and there's a gap between, our brains automatically compute that's a different set of information. And if there's headings in there, then we can already think about scanning and skimming and saving time. And we want to encourage our readers to look at this really, really well. We want to guide our users by the way we've placed the text to be able to read it with ease. They might not read it all together. They might initially, for me, the biggest thing is corporate package, executive, bespoke. I want to know how much it is and I want to know what I get out of it. And obviously Jan's already highlighted the fact that this is kind of this gold color. Maybe that's the one that she's selling. But as we open up a leaflet, as you've got these here, you see this predominantly, this side first. This is the back cover, this is the front. This flap here is really, really important because as you open that leaflet, you see it first. So I might, you know, we've got this 77.5 billion. That's the amount of money the UK losses earn every year from the economy because of sick leave. Now, to me, that's, you're speaking then to the customer, you're speaking then to the actual workplace, aren't you? And that's really got to have a little bit more power than that. The images right now aren't doing a lot for me. And as Jan knows, to actually get some proper images, not stock ones that look obviously stock, is kind of the key. So where do I start? First of all, front cover. It's got to have impact. That's where I actually start. Then I look at the back because that's how people are handling this. And then they open it up. So I want the actual cover to be absolutely spot on first. I have to work out my own call to action. I work out which copy is going on which page. For now, I'm going to follow Jan's. I might tweak it a little bit on the inside. And that's kind of where I start. So what I've done is I have some templates already set up. And for those of you who are subscribed to my newsletter, I will be giving you these templates if you wanted to do your own leaflet. And I'm going to start with the outside. So on these templates, basically, it tells you what information should go where. And I've put these tick marks in because for me, it's not, this is 297 is an A4 sheet. So 297 divided by 3 would be 99. But if you fold this paper exactly on 99, this flap here will be up to that crease and it won't fold properly. So on my leaflet, I always have the covers are at 100 mil and the inside at 97. Always have done. So there's a 3 mil, well, a mil kind of with the folding of the paper, depending on how thick it is, and a 2 to 3 mil give there that allows me to fold this flat without creasing the inside of the piece of paper. And in this guide, I've also got under file in Canva, you go to show guides, and there you can see that I've got guides. Now these guides are really important because you should not go near the edge with any copy at all, because if something is near the edge, it looks like it's going to fall off. It looks like it's badly designed. And if we want it to be quite sophisticated, we need, and our brains need, space around the words in order to read it. If it's too near the edge, it's causing a readability and legibility block. People won't read it. They won't pick it up. It won't be attractive. So we've got to allow space. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go down here and I'm actually going to just move these because I know kind of where the gaps should be, basically. So I'm going to leave these guides here, which is just basically my front cover, the back cover, and the outside flap. What I have done in preparation, and I suggest you do, I've just made a blank page and I've dropped on all the things I need for this design. So first of all, we need the logo in here, and we need the logo type. So I'm just moving those up here. Now for me, if we look at, say, the previous design that I have done, which is here, I kind of did this with it. So what I am actually going to do is I'm going to not invent the wheel. I'm going to copy these things and I'm going to paste them. Now, if you've done any designs, oh, and they're not wanting to do that today, right click copy. If you have done anything like this before and you've got something that works, then please use it. Don't reinvent the wheel. Now, if I put that on there, that's kind of, it's a bit hidden, isn't it? This looks here too small. So what I might do is, and these are grouped together, I might for now just put this here. So that's telling me, and do you know what? I might even put it at the bottom. Let me just group these things together. I might put it at the bottom. I don't know quite yet what I'm going to do. In fact, it doesn't look right at the bottom. I'm going to put it at the top. And I'm talking to myself here because I do normally. And I need to be able to kind of tell you the thoughts that I'm going through. I'm not quite sure about that right now. If you hold the shift key and a corner, you enlarge things in Canva. I need this guideline around here, however annoying it might be, because I need to show the edges of here. And I'm going to just bring that down a little bit. Okay, so the main call to action is we've got some words, and I'm just going to go in here. And for the front cover, we have, there's a new way to support workplace wellness. I'm not going to do the at last, sorry, Jan. So I'm going to go to type and I'm going to go to add a heading. I'm going to paste that in. And then I know that Jan's fonts are Libra Baskerville. So I'm going to go to font, and Libra Baskerville is near the top because I have previously written the aroma oils. So whenever you use a font in Canva, the fonts will be at the top. Now, the fact that I want this to be a little bit thinner, I want it to be a little bit squidged. I don't know if that's the right way at the moment, but I'm going to kind of just drop this on here. Now, I need it centered and I need it to look like a heading, but at the moment, it looks awful. There's too much space and it's taking up too much room on that front cover. So I'm going to go into the spacing here and I'm going to alter the letter spacing so it looks a little bit tighter together. And I'm going to make this chunking work out. So there is, I'm not going to do theirs, it's two. There is, because I want to have impact, a new way to support workplace wellness. And that just doesn't look right either. So I'm just going to take it down a little bit. There's a new way. There is a, it matters where, the new way to support workplace wellness. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that at the moment. Now, we really need some kind of color. We need some kind of picture. We need something that's going on there. So I'm going to go to elements and I'm going to go to photos. Oh, and I'm going to go to see all. I'm going to type in aromatherapy, if I can spell it right. Okay, and it's the kind of stuff that I need to think about with Jan. Now, we might not use these, but for this particular moment in time, it might be that I use something like this. I'm going to just take it to the full width, and I'm going to go to position and send backwards. So we actually see Jan's logo in there. I don't know if I like the logo up there at the moment. I'm just going to see what that looks like a little bit smaller. There is a new way to support workplace wellness, get a little bit more space going on there. I quite like the fact that we've got the aromatherapy oils here. I'm not quite sure if Jan likes it or not so far, but I want to kind of almost make it a little bit smaller. Now, if I make it smaller, I need this picture on it, and it causes me an issue at the bottom. Can you see? Because basically the picture is too short. I need it to go over the edge if I'm going to get it printed, but it's just too short here, and it's just a little bit too near the edge. Whereas if I did that, and what we could do is that we could run a block of colour. If I go to elements here, and if I go to shapes, and I'm going to go to a rectangle, and I might run a block of colour across the front and back. And this picture I'm going to crop in here. I may do something, I may put an overlay over here, because at the moment to put type on here would be truly quite horrific. But I think that might work as a front cover. Now, the orange definitely does not work. Beautiful little tip is when I've kind of used a photograph, if I go up to colour, you can see here that Canva actually imports the colours that are in this photograph. And whether you've got the brand colours or not, what we can do is use a colour from here, and it brings a harmony. Now, for me, that's too light. It looks odd with the sand. That's too much like the sand colour, like I'm trying to blend it in. So I want a little bit of contrast. And I might choose a little bit lighter colour that's more or less like the bowl. So I'm going to just choose a lighter colour just by moving. I've just clicked the colour swatch here, and I'm just going to move it slightly. So it's a little bit like that. Now, that is a perfect thing for a call to action. So if I look at Jan's copy, she's got either to book a place or discuss how we can help. Don't take our word for it. Benefits of workplace wellness. Let me just think. We want something in here. There's a new way to support workplace wellness. I need some copy going on here. Jan, I don't know if you've got any ideas. If you want to put it in the chat. But we need something there. I'm just going to put some copy in here now. I'll just put call to book your. There's a new way to support corporate discounts. Discount packages, because that's what actually Jan's selling, corporate discount packages. And we're going to go to our Libra Baskerville. We're going to reduce it down in size. Now, if it goes over here, I'm going to make, can you see those dotted lines? Those dotted lines means it's centered on that width. And obviously, if we select that type now, I'm going to make it a little bit closer together. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. And I'm going to make it a light colour. So I've used this colour has come from here. The brown is kind of matching the bowl. Then we've got this going on, and that's the aromatherapy. Now, that has got to have more impact than it kind of leaving it as it was. Obviously, Jan can change this around, but already, if I've got a really nice, this is what the leaflet is about. This is why we're kind of helping to support workplace wellness. We're not talking about illness right now. And then we've got a really nice photograph with a focus on the aromatherapy oils. And we're also saying, heal yourself your way. I might change that it's ungrouped. I might just change that little, I'm going to just move that up, that line for the moment, and I'm going to try and make that the darker line, probably a browner line, and move that back down a bit, just so the brown, actually, if you see it here, you're then linking with the brown here, and you're linking there, and all of a sudden there's brown tones in here, so your eye is moving around that page. I'm just going to move that down a little bit. How you can move these down a little bit is use your arrows on your keyboard, and it works an absolute treat rather than picking it up and moving it. I'm just going to move that down a little bit and that up a little bit. Okay, so on the back cover, I'm going to leave that for now, but I don't like how that's going to cause me problems putting type on there. So I'm going to go to elements. I'm going to draw a square. I'm going to cover. Please bear with me. I'm going to cover this and I'm going to make it white. And what I'm going to do is the checkerboard up here is transparency. So I'm going to just drop it down a little bit. Now, if you put then black type on there, I'm going to leave it for now. If you put black type on there now, you'll be able to see it. So I'm just going to copy that across and look at my type. And on the back cover, we should have, it's about our, don't take our word for it, isn't it, Jan? Yes, that's it. Don't take our word for it. I think that's it. Okay. So don't take our word for it. Okay. And I'm going to make it bold. I'm going to bring it closer together. And I'm going to just move it down a little bit. And then perhaps I uploaded some, or I thought I'd uploaded some testimonials. Obviously, Jan needs some testimonials that are appropriate, but it might be the fact that we just drop some in here that look a bit ugly at the moment. But it could be the fact that we kind of put them in a speech bubble, we put type on there. If you wanted a speech bubble, you would literally go to elements and you would type in speech bubble. That actually might work a little bit nicer than that. And as you can see, I'm trying stuff out because I don't know quite what will work or not. I would have normally have planned this out, but sometimes you just can't. So I might think, oh no, that's hideous. I might think that that one's quite nice, but I don't like the black. So you can see here, there's two colors going on, and I might click that for that one color and choose it as the brown. I'll choose it from this photograph. You kind of need a bit of an edge to it, but that's a little bit too thick at the moment. But you could have, it's not quite right. It's not quite the right speech bubble right now, but you could, I don't want an edge to it like the ones that you've got here, because Jan's overall thing is about kind of just really calm and really nice. So you definitely do not want a very harsh speech bubble. They've all got hideous black outlines on going on. Maybe just something a bit like that. Maybe. And if you get it wrong, just go back. Just click that curly whirly arrow, which is just the wonderful thing in the whole world, and go back to your happy place. I've just copied it. I'm going to flip it. And it might be a case of we only do 3. But it might be the fact that I put the type there. Maybe it's that way. So that can have the name here and the name there. And then the, so if I just copy it, paste, and bring one in there. Now I've got to remember these gaps at the side, haven't we? So it might be something like that. It doesn't particularly look great at the moment, but then we need this to book a call. And so we need some type on the bottom. I'm going to go with heading again and paste. So at the moment, obviously that looks far too big and far too clumsy. It's huge. So Command A or Control A selects it all. take it down to 18-point type is still huge. On body copy on type is normally 12-point type. So I'm maybe going to do it at 14. The fact that we need this call to action going on here, I need to work out what is actually going on the call to action, because that looks far too big. So the call to action would be to call, and I might do the www. I might put that in the bottom there, and the call to action might be to email or call Jan. So I'm just going to put some more type in here. And I'm going to use that typeface, which is the Libra. I'm going to make it bold. I'm going to make it that creamy colour, which is here. And I'm going to just drop it down. Now, if I drop it down in line and make the text box the same width as the actual leaflet itself, and I use my Command Shift and greater than, I can make it a little bit bigger and kind of design on the fly, as it were. And actually, if I have show rulers and I bring a guideline down, I want to make sure that these are in line. And that's another thing with design, that you make things that are in line. So that, to me, is in line with that. That's the front cover. This still looks too hideous for my liking. So to book packages or discuss how we can help you. Discuss packages for further information. To book packages hang on a minute, I'm going to change this. Sorry, Jan. For further information or further, if I can spell properly, information, or to book a package, further information or to book a package, call Jan on. So that can actually be bigger. You want it closer together. Remember that Gestalt's principle of proximity. The fact that it's in bold sans serif at the moment, I'm not sure whether I like that or not, but I definitely think that we need to change the colour to be the dark brown and not the black. And the same for this here. Dark brown. I'm going to do that. Now, we might find that that might work. This might have to go up in transparency a little bit to make it kind of clearer so it stands out. Again, we don't want any ambiguity with what we're actually saying at all, or what people can read. And that just needs to just go up a little bit. Okay, so for the moment, we've got a front cover and we've got a back cover. This page here, as I've said before, is really, really super important. So I want to emphasize for those people who don't know Jan, basically, I want them to have, I want them to see the logo. So I'm going to select this. Well, let me do it. Copy and paste. Okay, we've got it the same size. Now you'll notice, obviously, the little lines here, this is slightly, it's 3 mil shorter. So things have just got to be a little bit tighter, and I might just make it a little bit smaller so we are fine. And please, please, please make sure it is centered. And you can do that by enlarging and using your guidelines here to make sure that they are in line. After all, they are only guidelines. I've realized here, okay, I've made a bit of a boob, and the fact that that really needs to be bigger. Okay. Okay, and pull that in. Right, it's the full size now, it's fine. Okay, so, and the fact that this goes over a little bit, I'm going to just move it over using my arrows. Okay, and I'm just going to pull that in. So that's the front cover. It's a bit too tight for me, but other than choosing a different photograph, which we could do, this is just for design purposes. Okay, so we've got the call to action on the back, and this is about the benefits of a workplace. Remember, this is kind of, oh, not that one. Jan, I have lost your designs. Hang on a minute. It's on here, isn't it? So we've got this, haven't we? So already we've got a front and a back cover. I'll get you Googling somewhere. I think your Google needs to be on here to reinforce the fact that that's what package you are offering, and that's your credibility. And kind of, you know, we've got the elements on the back where we've got take your word for it. But here, what I'm going to do is put your Google reviews on the back, on the cover here. So basically we've got this text. The main heading is 77.5 billion. Now, that isn't the story, is it? The story is that through having your corporate packages, you're going to help. This is what's costing the economy, but actually you want to help that business be have a healthy workers team, don't you? Whatever that word is, I'm losing my words. So that for me needs to stand out more, and this is kind of the reason why you're doing it, basically. Okay, so we've got the stuff in here. So if I try and find that, okay, we've got bespoke packages. I'm trying to look at your benefits of work now. Okay, so that's the most important thing, isn't it? Is this benefit? So if I go to text here, put it up here, and basically I've just copied and pasted this information, and it's done something weird with bullet points. So I'm going to select it all and I'm going to range it left. Okay, just for now, but I need spaces and I need it to have much more impact than that does. And I think if we were to bring a photograph in or something like that, what the photographs here we've got are, this looks corporate. So let's maybe bring the corporate picture in. Now, I know you had these at the bottom before, Jan. I'm just going to go and hide guides. I don't know if that's working there or not, to be honest. I don't kind of like how this is working. Let's just put that in there. I don't like how that jars a little bit, even though it's a separate page, but we'll kind of work with it for now. What's the most important thing is this here, and then you've got this bit about that's the amount of money the UK loses every year from the economy of sick leave. I suppose you've got to work out whether that's really important, or whether you say the benefits of workplace, the benefits of our workplace programs. So let's get that. First of all, it's at the moment, it's at 12-point type. Now this is a big call to action, so I need it bigger than this, and I need it with more spacing. So remember, more space around stuff, better we can read it. And I need to bring it in here. Now this needs to be bold. I'm not quite sure about the type right now. I'm going to change it to be the Libra Baskerville. And this is definitely the heading. Heading needs to be at least 2 points bigger, but it does need to be in 2 lines. So I'm going to go down to letter spacing, and I'm going to see if I can just bring that together. And I'm going to put a return in here. So at the moment, it does need to be range left because these are bullet points, and bullet points need to be range left. I'm just going to try this being centered because this is the width of these elements here, which I quite like. So maybe that might work. It definitely doesn't work with black type. So I'm going to just change it to be brown, make it a little bit softer. This gap here is quite big, and it's a return. So what Canva does is if you just reduce the size, it reduces the gap, which is much better. We've got an element here. So really company, because this is one bullet point, should be nearer to the expertise stays within the company. Okay. I'm going to ask Jan about questioning her the bullet points there. So I highlighted this one and reduced the line spacing. Then I highlighted this bullet point and increased the spacing to make sure that it looks even. The only thing I'm thinking about now is actually going to elements I'm going to go back to the elements there. I'm going to go back to a square. I'm going to put the colour in here. Now at the moment, obviously, I've just drawn this and it's gone to in front of the picture. So I need to just go to position and send backwards. I'm not suggesting at all that we keep it that colour. Jan will be relieved to know. But basically, I need to change this colour. So we're going to go again to this colour palette, see what we've got in here. Now, I know Jan had kind of a white and a kind of gold, but at the moment, for me, that's not working, and neither is that colour. So we might go up here. The reason why I don't like it white is because you've just got a block here. And it's just a really hard edge. And nothing, I don't want, I know this has got a hard edge here, but this is kind of quite soft. Maybe it's just the wrong picture. But you kind of get the idea now that this is really nice and clean. We probably need a little disclaimer, a little bit of copy at the bottom to kind of bring this alive a little bit. Oh, and I've lost my line. What's going on with my line? It's all that attention to detail. I must have deleted it when I got rid of something. Okay. So the top of it is there. Maybe I've got a little bit of space going on where I can just move that up a little bit, move that up a little bit, and then perhaps some kind of call, some kind of reassurance copy, some kind of consolidation needs to be here. Need copy. So all of a sudden, myself as a designer, I'm actually thinking about how a person would look at this, and they need a little bit more of a convincing element here. So I put need copy here to consolidate. Consolidate. Okay. So that for me, that's kind of working now. I know we need copy in here and we need other things. Oh, we also need the Google, don't we? And the Facebook. I'm thinking whether that picture goes there at all now, to be honest. We need these in somewhere. Maybe they are in the right place here, Jan. Maybe dotted about here. It depends on where we're going to put. I'm just going to maybe, we definitely need the social media on somewhere. I do agree with that. Maybe we need there. It depends on where we're going to put the type, to be honest. But I think if we leave this in here somewhere, don't take our word for it. I think it probably needs to be up here, to be honest. But maybe perhaps not as big as that, but it needs to stand out, doesn't it? So I can kind of work with you, or you can have a tweak with where that's going to work. It's lighter at the bottom, so it's more appropriate for it to go at the bottom, to be honest, so we can see it clearly. And you can see now how I've maybe got the bottom to kind of work, but we need to fit these in. So I'm just going to go back here and I'm going to range it in line with here to see if we can get our Google, if I can hold on to it, our space there, to see if it can kind of line up almost. And I may even swap the call to action around, because I just don't think, maybe to book a package or for further information, call. Maybe that's better. To book a package or to book a package. To book a package, sorry, this must be really kind of boring for you guys, but I've just got to get it right. To book a package or for further information, call. Okay, and that makes it a little bit better to put my Facebook here and the Google there. And the person's name's going to go here, maybe there, and maybe there. So I might be okay with that. And that for me, it's a little bit space. I need to kind of reduce that a little bit. and perhaps reduce those a little bit. And perhaps, let me do that one. Let me do that here. Go into the spacing. So if things are together, you've got chunking, so it's easier to read. So you know that you've got this element here, you've got these bits here, and you've got the consolidation there. I keep tweaking with this, don't I? Let's just and bold, and it needs a bit more space now. Okay. Now, can you see I've changed the font, and all of a sudden it's kind of messed that up. So I'm actually going to go back to my happy place. And it's still there. I'll call, I might even take that out, just put an E. Don't know. There's so many things. I'm kind of doing it quickly because I don't want to actually bore you. I hope you kind of still guys are there. Am I still live, or have I died? I haven't had any comments for a while, or you've all fallen asleep perhaps, maybe. There. Am I still live, or have I? Who knows? Okay, so that for me is the outside, and then we've got to do the inside. So when we kind of look at Jan's inside, we've got the packages. We're still live. Thank you, Caroline. I'm nearly there. I'm just going to do one of these sides here and show you how I would move the copy around and perhaps put the type on there. And then I think we're done. For me, looking at this copy is really clear. I'm not quite sure about wellbeing package because this is build your own, not a wellbeing package. I think they're all wellbeing packages, and the corporate, executive and bespoke are the differentiators between I'm glad you're enthralled, David, between them. So I'm going to do the one side, I think, and then basically Jan will be able to kind of follow that. For me, because we open up this leaflet here, on this information, we're going to get the benefits here. So for me, I would prefer to have the executive package here. Let's win them over right now, and then basically have the corporate and the bespoke on there, and let's just see if it works. Plus that one you have got ever such a lot of information on, so if you make that absolutely work, then that's going to be done. So you've got to think about, what does a person want to know? Executive package, what do I get for it, and how much is it? Now, the fact that you've got 350 per day, 200 per half day, you know, being certainly where I live in Yorkshire, they're going to go, oh, we're going to get value for money here, and they're going to automatically go for the 350. Then the question is, what do they get extra for that? You've also got some really nice little disclaimers here. The ultimate in luxury for stress reduction and relaxation. I want that to go with the executive package. I want that to sell it. So I'm going to go to the inside here. And again, this is, if I put file on, and I'm going to give you these templates in the handout on Thursday as part of the newsletter. If I show guides, I've got my guides on here to give you those spaces. Remember, when I've designed this one, this image is going right to the edge, but the information, the words around here are all inside the design. Nothing is near the edge, because you want space around it to be able to see. Okay, that's really, really quite important. And if we need a bit more copy going down at the bottom here, I would be tempted to just reduce that in size, still keep it kind of in line here, but it just gives us a little bit more copy. And all I did there was I select Command or Control A, and I went to my Command or Control Shift key greater than, less than or greater than, yes, one of those makes it smaller or bigger, and I can design on the fly, which means I'm looking at the design and I'm using my keyboard to see how it works. I'm not going up to the menus and everything else. I'm just doing it using my keyboard command, which for me is more intuitive. So let's go to the inside. Inside is completely blank right now, as we have here. And for me, I'm just going to take off again these guidelines which are on the template. So you have an idea of where you, oh, no, not that one, where your spaces are. Okay, and I'm going to take that one off. And all I'm doing is clicking and dragging them off. Okay, so that's kind of what we left at. So for me, the images are going to be quite important, but ultimately I need to differentiate between these packages. Okay, I'm going to call it a well-being executive package. And then I'm going to go the ultimate in luxury for stress reduction and relaxation, because that's what's selling it. Okay, and you've got these really nice little disclaimers, little kind of subheadings that go with these packages. I don't need to see well-being package and corporate package again. I want to be well-being executive package. That's what I'm going to call it. So let's go to the inside. I'm going to go to my Word document, and I'm going to and the beauty of this is I'm just copying what I need to do right now. So well-being executive package. Let's just get my words in here. So add a heading. So I just put the type in first, and then I'm going to work out the sizes and everything else afterwards. And I'm going to call it well-being. And Jan's got it right there in the fact that on her leaflet, we've got this really nice italic, which then goes with the same style as her logo, which I think is a really nice link in. I'm not quite sure about the sans serif type. I think it should be the Libra Sans, which is what we've used all the way through, because that's quite elegant. This for me is a little bit harsh. It's a little bit too bold. Even though we want clarity, we want it to stand out. I think there's a different way of being able to do that. So let's get this type. And again, I'm using the Command or Control, Shift and less than. And I need to get it in line just by moving the, column widths. Okay, so I'm going to change it all to be now my Libra. I'm going to change that to be the italic. And this needs to be bold. Okay. That's what I want right now at the moment. And this type, whatever the size of these, this needs to be bigger, probably as big as I can get it. And this needs to be much smaller. It's 19.5. Normal copy is 12-point type. So if I get it down to 12-point type, I may even do that as an italic. It might just be too much. It is too much. You can't read it at that size. The ultimate in luxury for stress reduction. Now, to me, it's a bit too near the edge and it's not in line here. So it looks messy. If I went and changed the line breaks, it's kind of going in and out a little bit. And this doesn't fit right. This kind of needs to really fit with this. And I'm thinking, well, maybe, why isn't it working? Right, let's just make sure that that is a tighter space. Executive package. You had it, and we're going to try it in. Now, I don't think I can. No, I can't. Executive package. Does that work if I do it like that? Does that work if I do it like that? I need to put an extra space in there. Well-being executive package. I think that needs to have a little bit more space. I think that needs to be nearer. So there's those two are together and these two are together. I want to get that tiny little bit bigger. That's about as near as I can possibly get it to the edge. I think I want a line going on here. You know how we had the line in the logo to just split things up? Let's see if we can echo this and do it here and bring it out a little bit more. And then basically this type, need to select it and I need to bring it down a little bit more. And this type I need to bring up. So I use spacing a lot because for me, it's really important to chunk information together. Now, to me, that looks better. I'm not quite sure of the color right now. I'm going to see if we can go with this. Remember, it hasn't brought the colors in because this is actually a different document. So I'm going to try and see if I can replicate. If we went back to this here, okay, and we went to the color. For this color here, can you see there's a hex code? If I click on this color, if I double or click here, it will tell me what this hex code is. So I'm going to copy this and I'm going to go to the inside document. I'm going to select my line. I'm going to go to the color palette. I'm going to go up here and I'm going to type, just paste in what I copied. And that is the brown line. Okay. And I'm going to select that type and it's selected the brown here and it's there. So I quite like that. And if I was to duplicate that now, right click copy, right click paste, and it keeps it in line for me. And then let's duplicate it again. Now you can see this is the inside flat bit and this is not going to work. I'm going to have to change the type a little bit. It changes anyway, but can you see it's a little bit too near the edge? So I need to change that. I know that that is the bespoke package. And I know that this is the corporate package. So that kind of works. And what I'm going to do is just, if I hold the option key down, it brings it both in together. So I'm just going to make it a little bit smaller. So you can see automatically they are different. Now, whether you think it's a bit boring all the same, or whether you want to introduce, again, I've brought the kind of colors in. Let's go to this design here because I'm going to copy this. I'm going to go to my inside and I'm going to paste it in here. So the colors will paste in. So maybe this line that I've got is going to now be, and I'm changing it, you'll notice. Actually, that ties in better with the design that we did before. So then somehow I want some image or I want something going on to differentiate between these that's really clear. Jan had initially on here different images on the inside. I really like this image of Jan, and maybe just thinking about it, Jan, you need to be here because you're doing the actual aromatherapy. So I'm just going to go to uploads and I'm going to drop you in there. That is a really dull picture. So I'm going to go to adjust, go to brightness, up the contrast a little bit. Now that to me probably is better than the corporate one. I really don't like this messiness going on here. So I'm going to make the picture bigger and bring that in. And remember, we talked about image, didn't we, last week, about cropping images. So for me, it's got no kind of nasty bits going on there either. So that for me is much better. And I've got that to me is harmonious with now the front, because that's all about Jan and about kind of what she does. Right, go back to the inside. I'm flitting, aren't I? So we need really, we've got some copy to go on here. And let's just bring that copy in because that's what we do. Heading, I've copied it, I've pasted it in. I'm going to reduce it down straight down to say 12-point type. I'm going to do bullet points. I'm going to change it to be range left because that's what we have in the copy. And I'm going to change it to be my Libra Baskerville. That's what we've done straight away. And for me, I want to know what the price is, don't you? And at the moment, that's kind of not sexy enough, really. It doesn't make me want to read it. Let's just get some space going on so we can kind of see the different points. Now, that's going to be a bit tricky. Can you see as I space it, the space on the bullet point also spaces together, and there really should be a bigger space in between the bullet points. So I'm going to probably leave that quite tight, and then I'm going to cheat. I'm going to put these spaces in here. And what I'm going to do is select that, take the bullet points off, and reduce the size. So it's down to, so that size is down to 3 point. Okay, so that's a bit tedious in the fact that I have to do that every single time, but it means that I get my spacing right, which ultimately means that people can read it easily. There we go. Take the bullet points off, reduce the size. I think I've gone a bit too much. Where are we now? 3. Okay. So some things like this are not automatic, and it certainly doesn't mean that Canva is going to let you, you know, give you fantastic designs. Now, I don't like the idea of a report from Jan on request. I like the idea that you will give them a report, because on request means it's a bit of a faff. But if they're getting the executive, you really want to sell it. Aromatherapy clinical consultation appointment, and specialist report. That would be good if I could spell it right. Specialist report, specialist individual. Report sounds a bit businessy. Specialist something. We want another word, Jan, instead of report. And for me, these prices should not be bullet pointed. They should be bigger and probably different part of the text. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to have, just for flexibility, the prices. Now, I've got no image on here. I'm thinking possibly, let's just have a look at trying to get, even if it's the same image for now. It's almost like you need a slice of image. Position, backwards. Right, filter, adjustment. Let's blur it. Okay, let's put a hue on it. Just bear with me because none of that is working right now. Contrast down, brightness up. I don't like the color of it, so I'm going to go to effects and go to one of my favorites, which is duotone. And we've got like a golden glow, but that's truly horrific. So we need to change these 2 colors. So duotone is made out of 2 colors. And depending on how we lighten that color, depends on where we go with it. I'm not even sure if I like it, to be honest. I kind of almost need it to be. I still don't like it. I kind of almost need an image at the top. Let's have a look. Let's delete that because I don't like it. And let's go again. And we almost need, perhaps I've got it wrong. Maybe we don't need those at the top. Maybe we need a package at the top. Now, for me, I'm designing on the fly. You guys really do need to have thought about this, and just, you can see I'm playing around, and I need one thing to work in order for the others to get the others going. I'm just I'm clicking it, holding down my Option key or Alt key and duplicating it. These need to be different pictures. That's probably better. And then I need maybe that from the outside, maybe I need this block. I need something at the bottom that's going to bring it in. So I haven't yet designed it, and I have kind of seriously over time. But you can see it's not just a case of kind of rocking up and doing the first thing that kind of comes into your head. You do need to think about it. And I think that for me kind of sets the difference between something that's designed and considered and something that looks unprofessional and just, you might have considered all these things, but you need to kind of make them work. And I wouldn't introduce something else until it's working. I'm not quite sure of that colour, but I think what I would like is to put the prices in here. So I'm going to just go down to the bottom. I'm going to make it bold. 250 per day, 250 per half day, per day, half day, half day. It still doesn't look quite right. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to call it a day. Jan, we will come back together. That's gone behind, by the way. So just go to position, bring to front. It's far too big right now. And we need like a little call to action. And that probably needs to be in bold. These are different colours. These are somehow, I need some kind of little introduction going on here. You know, what else do you get with it? Do you get lunch with it? Do you get drinks with it? What else do you get with your money? And maybe that the benefits are in the bottom, or maybe it's just the prices that are down there. You kind of need something that will allow people to differentiate really, really quickly between the prices. I think they're far too big right now. But you need something. Okay, copy it. Command C. What's the size? So I'm going to just delete those. Okay, we've got this again. If you hold the shift key down, it keeps it in line as well. Okay, so that's kind of like the way I'm going to start with it. And we really do need to obviously make the difference between these packages, maybe, and definitely, I would say this color goes with this one. Maybe this is a different color. So we can really differentiate. It's not doing it, is it? It's telling me I need to go. I need to go get a drink of tea because my voice is going too. But you can see if that was a slightly different color. And we need to get the colors from the actual pictures. But if that was slightly different color to go with the different pictures, that would kind of be a differentiator. Now, I'm not saying that this is the final design whatsoever, but this is my design process that I would go through to be able to do that design. So we've got a front cover, which is here, and then we've got a back cover here. So going back to our original point is basically make sure you know what you're doing. If we go back up to here, and if I recap, so in order to design a leaflet, you need to know who your audience is. You need to know the reason why you're producing this leaflet. You need to know how you're going to attract the customers. You need to know what the purpose is, and inside and out, what that service is and how that's going to, why someone's going to buy that service or buy that product, and what your call to action is. The design part is about making choices and making decisions. And I might make 2 or 3 alternatives in order to get it right. But the most fundamental thing when you're talking about design is about space and not filling the space, you can use background colors, images to do that. Make sure wherever you use the type, it's got clarity, there's a clearness to it. You can see things in an ordered, aligned manner. And information, using colored blocks is a really good way to hold information and not make it clash with everything. And the inside, you know, the idea that we've got these really, really similar, but using the photographs and using the color block at the bottom is a differentiator. And obviously the difference in the line, I want to see that this has got loads of bullet points. This has maybe perhaps got a few, and this is maybe a completely different thing. Okay, so for me, thank you very much for bearing with me. It has gone well over our half an hour or an hour, but I hope you've enjoyed and learned something from tonight. So thank you very much for tuning in. If you haven't already, subscribe to sarahbatesdesign.co.uk/subscribe to get the newsletter and to get the templates. And happy designing. Thank you very much. Good evening. Bye.